Hey everybody, it's Rhoda from Cigar City Tarot coming to you on day 26 of Ethony's 31 Days of Tarot Challenge. I have to say, I think this is probably one of my favorite days, but it's thought process, right? And so the question is, if you were on a deserted island, which 5 decks do you want to have and why? And so here are my 5 decks, right? And we'll go through each one and why, because for various reasons, right or wrong, good or bad, these are the ones that I wanted to be with when I would be, on a desert island. Although I don't really read well for myself, these might be fun to try. Okay, let's just move them all out of the way in no particular order. Let's take this one. And I know you've seen all of these, well, probably all of them, because they have come up in either my favorites so far or what I've studied with so far. This one is, and this is my crocheted thing, my Sugar Skull Tarot deck. I love this deck. When I saw it come out, actually, I don't even think I saw it come out. I was looking for decks that would be good for Halloween and saw the Sugar Skull Tarot and Tequila book. It came out first. I ordered that and I thought, how fun. When is this deck going to come out? Does the guy even do a deck? Anyway, like I said earlier, it came out right, probably a week. I got it a week or two before I had my Halloween Tarot and Tall Tales. But I love this deck. So if I were on a desert island, I'd love this deck, right? I'd need my book because it gives me some good information and it fits in my bag, right? So it fits in my bag. So I wouldn't have it. I made a reading, cloth for it. So it would be happy if we were on a desert island. It wouldn't get sand all over itself. And this way I could, I don't know, dream about what it was like back in the Wild West and the imagery. I could think about my Santa Muerte. I could think about Day of the Dead. I could think about Halloween. I could think about fun stuff from the 1880s. And I could think about Halloween. And it's very similar to a style I learned in terms of the Rider-Waite. And I love this deck. So yes, I would want this deck with me on a deserted island. All right. Now, with that said, why don't we just talk about the regular Rider-Waite, right? So he, and I swear to God, this deck feels like a he. I've moved him into, I'm a huge flamingo fan and pink. I've moved him into, this is one of my very first decks. Even though I got my first deck when I was 14, it likely was a Rider-Waite from the 1970s, but I gave it away in the early 80s and never really played with it. So when I picked this up, I'm assuming it looked very similar. So, but yeah, so I would like my regular Rider-Waite. It has its own little, creepy, crazy white book, which is everybody, kind of uses that. Got its own little reading cloth. Yeah, she has her own little reading cloth, or he does. Anyway, so yeah. So why not have the standard? Because this is what I learned with back then. This is what I've studied now. And certainly it has its own little system. And I'm quite familiar with it and the imagery. So that would be number 2. All right. An oldie but a goodie. And we've talked about her before. This is my Dark Mansions Tarot. And I say she because it feels like a woman. Feels like an older woman. It's so weird though. This deck did not come with a little white book, right? So the interpretations are left to your intuition, and then certainly are, reading cloth are what you would interpret if you were Rider-Waite Smith. But it is so similar in that it's imagery and whatnot, although its imagery is much more I don't even know how to describe it, comical 1800s, 1880s, but I love it. It's not really Tim Burton like Tarot Nightmare Before Christmas Tarot, but I love this, and it's got beautiful colors and it's got so much more depth. And yes, I would want this in my deck. And besides, it's beautiful. I love the matte finish and the black finish. It's just gorgeous. So that would be deck number 3. And then let's talk about my last 2 decks. Recently moved this guy into a new sassy, saucy jalapeno deck, because this deck is that way. Now, whether or not I keep him here, again, I feel like it's a male energy. This deck came with a book, not a little white book, but a relative like 5x7 book. Anyway, this is my Tarot of the Illuminati. Like I've said before, and why I like it is the imagery and the symbolism. It is based on the Rider-Waite system. So if you're used to that and what some of those cards mean, you certainly have a head start in that. And this deck is fabulous. So yeah, I'd like that one because I think it gives me a little bit more. In some ways, it's not as old style, but it is and it isn't, right? So anyway, that is deck number 4. And my last deck, I love it because I am all about Halloween, right? So he just got a new, actually, he's the Halloween Tarot who, oops, have him upside down for you. He has his own tin, right? It's a tin box, right? So, which is a smaller deck, which is more the size of a playing card. I like that, but I did make him a cool new Halloween themed. So the entire box goes in. He's got his own reading cloth now, and he goes right in. But I love this deck, right? And so if I were on a deserted island and it was getting more towards Halloween, and I'd be, feeling lonely and sad that I would have normally had a Halloween party. Or, if I wanted a ghostly reading, I could pull out, and it has all the imagery of my Halloween things. So, yeah. And because it's based on the Rider-Waite Smith, I think that it would be easy to read. It does come with its own little white book, right? So, and it does have some spreads, which is kind of cool. And I love this deck. And so those are the 5 decks that I would have if I were stranded on a deserted island. All right, we will see you. I love this prompt. I think it's great, like I said before. Anyway, we will see you on day 27. And if you're following along with this, please look up other readers and posters for what they're doing for their 31-day challenge. It is hashtag 31 days of tarot. And we will see you on our next day. Great. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.